Hey guys, today's video is all about account progression, hero progression, and generally how to get yourself unstuck if you're having trouble on a few different stages. On my Discord we get a lot of questions, and in game I get sent a lot of messages, and there is a very common question, which is who do I level up? How do I progress? What do I do next? I'm stuck, which is a very general and a very fair question. Well, very simply, there's a couple of key premises around character progression that I think kind of help answer this question. I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that there is a lot of different ways to progress in Watcher of Realms. You have collecting new heroes, starring them up, promoting them, getting awakenings, skilling them up, getting them gear. There's a lot of different ways you can progress, trying different heroes out, and I think it can be confusing, especially if you're newer to the game, to know exactly what you should be pursuing first. Should I farm gear now? Should I farm experience? Should I farm promotions? It can be a bit muddy. Should I stay longer in the campaign or should I move to the hard mode campaign? So the goal of this video is to break that down and to spell it out and make it easier for you to decide what to progress on next. Very simply, my advice if you are a new player and you are progressing through the game, do your best to get to campaign chapter 8 and get to stage 4 to unlock the final experience raid. The experience raids can only be unlocked by completing them in the campaign chapters. So besides chapter 1, there is a new XP dungeon unlocked every single chapter. Finally at chapter 8, this is the final one. And if we take a look at the raids, you can see there is actually quite a big difference in the XP raids. I'll put some numbers up on screen to show you the XP per stamina, so the amount of experience potions you gain per stamina invested, as the cost of stamina does go up per mission, but so do the total experience potions gained from the experience raid. So it is significantly better to do the final stage 7. Overall, it does add up. So yes, my suggestion would be wait until stage 7 if possible to farm the XP raid. However, it's likely you'll need to farm some of the stages as you go through the game, and you might need to stop at stage 6 and farm there for a while from chapter 7 before you're able to get to stage 7. That's not a big deal. My suggestion is just before you spend hundreds of runs farming XP, do your best to get to stage 7. So, about that, if you're unable to get to stage 7, unlocked in the campaign chapter 8, how do you make your team stronger? How do you make yourself able to pass the horrible boss at the end of chapter 7? I do have a guide on this boss, which I'll link in the description. And if there's a bunch of other stages that you're having trouble with, then let me know and I'll make a specific video covering any stages you need. Well, my advice for progressing your team if you're having trouble is focus on 5-starring your core team. As I said in the early game teams and team composition video, typically you'll want up to 3 ground units, you'll want 1 to 2 healers, and then the rest is going to be a spread of DPS, ideally marksmen and mages, to cover airborne stages. That's kind of the rough team roster you want, and I would advise 5-starring the majority of that roster, if not all of them. All of the really core important heroes, especially your DPS first, and once you've got them all to 5-star, focus on trying to promote them. Experience grants you a massive amount of stats, so you can see this is Brienne at level 3, and if I max level her, she over doubled her stats. That's going to affect any gear you put on them if it's percentage based, and then starring her up to 5-star, you can see her stats gain another big boost as well, 200 extra attack, and then if we were to max star her from 1100 attack, this goes up to 1300 attack. From where we started at the beginning, this is a huge difference in stats. So definitely focusing on trying to level up and star up your heroes. It's just such a big difference. And if you go to the promotions, you can see 67 attack, another 115 attack, 173 attack bonus, and then 240 attack. These are massive amounts of increments of stats for your characters. So I would strongly recommend, if you're progressing through the game, your focus should be first off your DPS, whoever your core DPS is. If you're very early, it will likely be an epic marksman, someone like Tazira, Theowin, Brienne, or Tariel. These are the 4 epic marksmen that you randomly get assigned with your first summon in the game. They are all legitimately very good. So I would recommend, if you don't have any really good pulls, check my tier list if you're uncertain. Then I would recommend taking one of those heroes to 5-star and getting them promoted, because they really do make a big difference. Each one of these promotions is a really big stat gain. Simply put, my suggestion is 5-star your DPS, get them to 5 promotions. After that, focus a separate DPS, and then you've got 2 DPS who are outputting a good amount of damage. After that, I would suggest getting your healers and your defenders to 5-star as well. You can take them to 4 promotions instead of 5. If you're having difficulties getting all of the insignias you need, as it can be really quite expensive and take a lot of time if you're not as far progressed. Healers and defenders can get by on less stats. DPS really do need their full stats to do as much damage as possible. The sooner you kill things, the easier it is for everyone else involved, so DPS are always your core focus. So once you've got, I would recommend 5 to 6 heroes, your core team of around 5, maybe 6 heroes at 5-star promoted, and ideally your top 2 or 3 heroes should be 5-star promoted fully. The other half of that core you can maybe leave at 4 promotions. Hopefully that should be able to help you progress through the campaign and get to the final chapter, chapter 8, and get to the last XP raid. Once you're at this point, I would recommend farming a lot of XP. Something to keep in mind, and this is actually really important, if you click up in the top left, you'll see there is an XP bonus, and mine only has 1 day left. When this runs out, things are going to get a lot harder to farm XP. So all of my stamina right now, I'm probably going to be throwing into XP farming. This booster we're getting is giving us 100% extra hero XP and hero XP potions. It's the potions are the main thing. That's what you get from the XP raids. And although there are many other ways to get these XP bonuses, I'll just quickly show you a few. Progressing in your Pantheon, which you unlock in Chapter 7, Stage 8, you unlock the Pantheon. Progressing this daily, you will get some XP boosts and intermittent upgrades. Not very commonly, but you will get some here. And these automatically activate. The other way of getting them is you can buy them from the Awakening shop, but it costs you half of an epic hero. If you sell an epic hero, you get 80 to 100 tokens. You get 80 if they are a fusion epic. I've pulled 7 light locks, so I sold one, which is why I have 80 coins. But this is not a very easy way to get hold of XP bonuses. You don't want to be having to get rid of epics to get an XP bonus for 1 day. And finally, if you go to the Server Launch Festival Redeem shop, there are 5 available to buy in here. So there are a number of ways to get experience bonuses. You may have noticed the Server Launch ones, this is not a recurring resource. This is a one-off Server Launch event. These are actually very generous, so I would definitely recommend picking up as much as you can get from this store. Hold off with the gold bonus until the end of the event, because the gold raids are unlocked from the hard mode campaign, and again, you want to farm stage 7. There's no rush to consume it because we can buy loads of gold from the event. Buy the gold bonus as late as you can in the event. We have 15 days left. Take full advantage of that near the end of the event. So anyway, back to what I was saying. There is a limited amount of XP bonuses to get in the game, and the ones we get from starting are all starting to burn out now as we're getting through the first week of the game. We really do want to be taking advantage of the XP bonus we have. So back to what I was saying about progressing your heroes. Farm the XP as much as you can. You can see I actually have 3 heroes at 6-star already. I have Morrigan, Salazar, and Dolores. After you've got your core team at 5-star, you've got them promoted, you've got your core DPS promoted to max, pick your best single DPS. Again, you can refer to the tier list, or you could just go based on how you feel or the most common one, and take them to 6-star. That should be your next focus. After your core team are all 5-star, again 5 to 6 heroes, get them promoted, half of them at max promotion, take your best DPS to 6-star, and then focus on getting all of the other people up to max 5-star promotions, and then you can focus on either getting your second hero to 6-star or taking your first hero to max promotions. The biggest pain with this is these myth extracts. They are a nightmare to farm, so it's no big deal if you've just got them at 6-star for the moment. 6-star and max level is actually a big stat gain, so it is well worth doing. And you may have noticed I've missed a whole bunch of other areas. I haven't talked about skill ups, I haven't talked about gear farming. And we'll get to that now, because in my opinion, this is when you can actually start to farm gear. Before this point, you're not really going to get anything good. There is no loss in farming XP until this point. If until this point, all you've done is progress campaign to chapter 8 and spent thousands of stamina farming XP, I grant it is not the most fun. This video is about efficiency. It's not about fun. Apologies. But this is, in my opinion, the most efficient way to progress fast, and that's how I've gotten through the game quite fast. As soon as, I think it was day 2 hit, I spent the entire day farming the XP raid. I managed to unlock that XP raid, the final one, on the end of the first day, and since then I've just been absolutely blasting this. So you do get fodders from this, and you farm as much XP as you can while you have the XP booster, and if you're running out of fodders, buy these from the shop, as I have been, and get your heroes up. Once you've got your core DPS to 6-star, you've got your best DPS to 6-star, and you've got the rest of your team at 5-star, and you've managed to promote as much as you can, focusing on the promotion raids so that you can fully upgrade your team. Then you can start progressing the gear raids in earnest. It's totally fine to progress the gear raids in advance of this and to progress them sooner in the campaign, but I would recommend not sitting on a stage and farming too heavily. The reason I suggest waiting this long to farm gear is because once you've got to chapter 8 in the campaign, you have unlocked the most efficient form of farming XP. Whether you do it now or in 6 months or a year's time, that XP is of equal value, because we are farming the best XP raid in the game. Whereas if you spend 1,000 stamina farming stage 8, this gear is all going to be garbage in a month's time when you start farming myth gear. So I strongly suggest holding off on farming in the gear raids until you've got your heroes up. Again, it is not the most enjoyable. I grant you this is about efficiency. But if you want to be efficient, take your heroes to 6-star, your core DPS first, 5-star the rest of your team. Once you've got that sorted, you can start farming gear. It's fine if you need to farm stage 9 a bit to get some yellow gear before you can break into stage 10. That's fairly common. My recommendation would be build around what's best for you. Personally, I like Gear Raid 2 because you can do some clever things that will allow you to get further in Gear Raid 2. Gear Raid 1 is a pure AoE damage check. If you do not have a good AoE mages, you are in a lot of trouble. And Gear Raid 3 is a marksman check. If you don't have good anti-air damage, you are in trouble. Gear Raid 2, you can do some funky stuff by throwing heroes in to eat the boulder rolls and absorb some damage. You can progress by doing some clever stuff there. I'll be remaking a bunch of guides on these, beginner guides focused in future, but for now, build around what's good for you. If you have a really good AoE team, maybe you pulled a Karmet, or in Gear Raid 3, if you pulled a Nyx, then I think you should aim for that. So yeah, that is my recommendation. Focus on leveling your heroes up, get them to 5-star max promotions, take your best DPS to 6-star, try to get them to max promotions, farming the promotion raids. Once again, promotion raids don't get worse over time. You're farming them very efficiently, very early. It's not too hard to get into the late stages of these. Farm based on what you need to get. And then, and only then, once you've got your main DPS to 6-star, you can start farming the gear raids. If you're stuck, farm gear. My recommendation is buying gear from the shop. I'm buying the myth ones from the shop since I've unlocked them. You get higher quality the further you get into the game. That pretty much covers how I would suggest progressing at this point if you're stuck. It's not that much to it really. As a summary, get to the stage 7 of the XP raid in chapter 8 of the campaign. If you can't, it's fine to farm in chapter 7. If you can't, for whatever reason, you haven't had a lot of pull luck, then farm where you need to. But again, your goal is to 5-star max level your heroes and then take some time in the promotion raids to get your heroes 5-star promotions, because it will help a lot. It's a lot of stats and some of them unlock extra talents. After that point, focus on 6-starring one of your heroes. Again, when you come to the shop, you can buy fodder if you need to, and then in the heroes, you can quick star up a whole bunch of heroes at once. You may see I can quick star up a whole load at once. That's a feature unlocked, I think, around chapter 4 on hard mode, but the full quick star up of like many in a line, I believe it's unlocked in hard mode, just in case you're curious. And yeah, this is the way I recommend upgrading your heroes. And once you've got enough here, and you can 6-star another hero, 6-star your best DPS. And again, the second hero is again going to be your second best DPS, because DPS really drives the game forward. And at that point, you start farming gear, and you start populating the gear on your character. Ideally, at this point, you're farming myth or legendary gear, and your DPS should be aiming for attack bonus as the main. The gear I have on these characters is all garbage. This is all rubbish at the moment. I haven't spent a lot of time farming it because, again, I'm trying to progress my power outside of the gear raids in more efficient ways first. But I've just taken these immediately to plus 16 because we have loads of event gold. And the main stat is the most important thing right now. All of them are attack bonus because I'm not too worried about focusing on crit rate. I want to get as much attack out as I can. We can focus on crit rate later when I have good enough gear to justify it. But for right now, I'm just focusing on as much attack as I can. And the priority, the first substat priority is crit rate. So it's attack bonus as a priority, then it's crit rate for pretty much any DPS at this stage. But the main thing is the attack bonus main. Get out of here with that flat attack stuff. It's 960 flat attack versus 60% of 4.3 thousand. So attack bonus is all the way what you want on a DPS hero at red gear for sure, and at legendary gear as well. That is it. That's a quick summary of how I would suggest progressing your account. Again, if you're stuck on any particular stages, then let me know and I'll look into making some guides for you. I get back to every single comment, so feel free to leave a comment with any questions you have. The channel has been incredibly busy lately, so I might take a little bit of time to get back, but I do my best to respond to everyone within a day. So hopefully I can help out if you have any troubles. Thank you again for all the support. It's been absolutely lovely. I hope you guys are enjoying the game, and I'll see you again next time. Take care, and bye-bye.